God's miracle molecule. And the problem is that our glutathione levels decline every year. They decline every decade, about on average anywhere from 8 to 12% per decade. So I'm in my 70s, and so my glutathione levels should be half, less than half of what they were in my 20s. Now, glutathione, among other things, it is the primary protector of your cell. It is the detoxifier. Your cell has many industrial chemicals in it, and they need to get out. Well, guess what gets them out? Glutathione. It is the primary protector of your mitochondrial DNA. That's critical to your life. It is the protector of your immune cells. You know, your immune cells protect you, but what protects them? When your glutathione levels are high, your immune cells can reproduce explosively in response to a bacterial or viral insult. But when they're low, your immune cells reproduce sluggishly. So, and we all know, having come through what we've come through in the last couple of years, we all know the value of our immune system. Those little T cells are amazing. They're assassins. They target bacteria, viruses, cancer, and they're what your body depends on. They're called the assassins of the immune system, okay? And the faster they can reproduce to a bacterial or viral insult, the more effective they're going to be. We need to keep our immune system healthy. And the key to protecting the immune system is glutathione. So glutathione declines by 10% per decade, but the assault on the cells don't. Do you know every cell in your body, you have about 60 trillion of them, are attacked 10,000 to 20,000 times a day by things called free radicals. Now, a free radical is just a thief. It wants to steal an electron from your cell and then make your cell vulnerable to all sorts of problems. And so what glutathione does, instead of your cell donating one of its electrons, the glutathione molecule donates one of its electrons, and it neutralizes or sequesters the free radical. Amazing. And then it recycles itself. The same molecule recycles itself over and over and over again. Glutathione is also critical to oxygen transfer. When hemoglobin is manufactured in your body, it cannot bind to an oxygen molecule, so it's useless. It has to be reduced to what's called a positive 2. The reduction agent that reduces hemoglobin to a positive 2 is glutathione. So it allows your hemoglobin molecules to bind to an oxygen molecule and deliver that molecule wherever it needs to go. Dr. Oz did an entire show just on glutathione. Here's what he said at the beginning of that show. The most powerful antioxidant you've never heard of. It's one of the keys to fighting off the diseases you fear the most. It's called glutathione. Now write it down because it's critically important. And in that show, Dr. Oz had Dr. David Katz, who was head of Yale University's research department in disease prevention. And listen to what he said on glutathione. It really is the most important antioxidant. It's the one the body relies on to clean up critical toxins. He said, if you're chronically run down, if you're chronically fatigued, if your body just isn't firing on all cylinders, low glutathione may be part of it, both cause and effect. People used to think vitamin C was the most critical molecule. And in 1984, there were 16,000 studies on vitamin C. There were only 8,000 studies published on glutathione. Well, as they began to study more and more, they realized that glutathione is the key to human health and human performance. Today, there's over 160,000 studies on glutathione compared to 75,000 studies on vitamin C. It is certainly one of the most studied molecules in all of molecular biology. Ask your doctor about it. Most doctors will say, yeah, I think I read about that in medical school. But ask any molecular biologist about it, and their eyes will light up. They'll go, oh man, let me tell you about glutathione because it's so cool. Well, the problem is, as our levels decline, we need to bring them back up. And that's not so easy. Why? Because glutathione itself is a very fragile molecule. It gets destroyed in the gut. It's rate-limiting amino acid. It's made up of 3 amino acids. 2 are in abundance, glutamic acid and glycine. But the 3rd amino acid that makes up the glutathione is L-cysteine. L-cysteine, like the glutathione molecule, is so fragile that when it gets into the stomach, it's destroyed. Now, you can buy, there are ways around it. You can buy liposomal glutathione. You can buy liposomal L-cysteine, and those are somewhat effective. But what would happen if we could nanosize the glutathione particles and make them so tiny that you didn't have to go through the stomach? They would literally transfer through the mucous membranes in your cheek and sublingually and be absorbed that way. What would happen if we could actually make the particles, the molecules, if we could get them to the size to where they could be more bioavailable to the skin? Well, that's what we've done. Our technology is called hydrostat, and it's a nanotechnology that is novel and unique to us. We're the only ones that have it. Nobody else in the world has it. And it uses reorganized ultra-pure water molecules to surround the nanoparticles. Do you think your cells want to have more water? Yeah, believe me, they like water more than they like fat. So we went ahead, we created a supplement where we nanosized glutathione, L-cysteine, and some other cofactors, and we went ahead and we gave it to athletes because we know if it's going to really work, it's going to change performance. Well, we saw amazing things with athletes. One athlete who was on the downside of his career, he had been a strength and conditioning coach with the Seattle Seahawks. When he was 48, he set a world record bench pressing 804 pounds. And after that, it was downhill. By the time he was 59, he could only bench 725. Now, that's a lot. It set the record for his age group, but he was no longer competing with the elite. And you can blame it on age and loss of lean muscle and everything else. Well, he started using our product. And because it cut his recovery time so much, instead of lifting heavy once a week, he could lift heavy 4 times a week, which changed everything. He could also work out back muscles that he hadn't been able to work out in years. And his bench press in 6 months of using our product went from 725 pounds to 915 pounds. 6 months later, as a 60-year-old, he set a new world record for all ages, 1,050 pounds, okay? Up 300 pounds from a year and a half earlier. Nobody does that, right? Well, he will tell you that by swishing, he cut his recovery time so much he could work out more often. Guess what? He was the first athlete I gave the product to. I started giving it to other athletes I knew, and they saw the same things. Man, the first time the runners and cyclists were using it, they were breaking their personal records. The very first time, it just blew them away. Same thing with boxers and everybody we gave it to on the athletic world. They just went crazy. And what's so cool is there's no stimulants. There's nothing bad for you in it. It's heart healthy, brain healthy. It's just glutathione and some other cofactors.